So what I'd like you to do is to answer the two questions that you can see in front of you now, aiming to write between 80 to 100 words for each question or in each answer. First of all is ¿qué deportes haces? And second is ¿qué comes y qué bebes normalmente? As it says at the bottom of the slide, I'd like you to use resources that are available to you and adapt text that you already have. I don't want you to make this as difficult as you possibly can. I certainly don't want you to start from scratch thinking that you need to use Google Translate or anything like that. So what you need to do is to go back over the things that you've covered over the past month or so. Now, the first place to start here is going to be in your shared folder here. Now, I got here by typing in bit.ly/mflperinca. I'll show you that again. So bit.ly/mflperinca, and when I click into that, it will just take me into this link here, which you can see in front of you. In order to access the stuff that you've been doing over the past month or so, you click into Spanish. You click into Spanish again. You then go into the health folder here, and then you need to go into 2014 to 15. And once you're in there, you've got all of the things that I've saved in terms of activity, etc., etc. So if we take that first question, which is ¿qué deportes haces? And we just open up the PowerPoint here. So this is a PowerPoint that I've used in class. Now don't forget, you don't click on this button here to go on to next, you just scroll down the page. So all I'm doing now is just scrolling with the thing on the mouse. You could alternatively just arrow down, or you can press page down to get there quicker. Now we can see that, first of all, we've already got things that we've already covered in terms of sport. So I just want you to use these kinds of activities to try to, as much as possible, answer each of those questions. So as I scroll through, you can see all of the things that we've used. You should have all of this vocabulary somewhere. Had a whizzy loop there where we had each of these sentences and we adapted these things, and these are the sorts of things that I want you to try to talk about. So as I go through there, let me just define very quickly, you did start to do this activity here, which is where you were talking about your opinions of sport, and you were talking about the sports that you did in school. You also talked about things that you used to do and things that you did last week or last month. And I want you to use the structures that are already here. We also, for sport, did this, which was the battleships grid. And you know, ultimately, what you did there was you had a task where you just needed to write a short paragraph. You should have that paragraph somewhere. So this should be a case of looking back at the work that you've already done and picking out the bits that you think will fit the task best. If I go down, we also did this activity. I'd like you to get in there somewhere verbs which take infinitives like me gusta, no me gusta, intendo, suelo, etc. We covered that again yesterday. In your answers, you've even got the answers here. I've done them twice. So there's no reason not to know what each of these ones are. Now, ultimately, you can't always use these sentences in things about sports and about and about foods and drinks, but the structures are there. And if I carry on down, there's one more thing that I'm going to show you here, which is this activity that we did, which was the consequences game. The reason why I did this activity was so that it would give you a good answer. You know, it would give you something where you talked about the sports that you did. So in my spare time, I love to do whatever this sport was, because in my opinion, it is whatever it is here. The reason why I had you do that in your books was so that you could go back to it and use it when you were answering these things for yourself. So the first slide that I showed you was about the two things that I wanted you to do. And I've just scrolled all the way down to where this is on your PowerPoint. So we're on slide 58 of 62 here. So if you just go straight down to there, you can see what the task is. ¿Qué deportes haces? ¿Qué comes y qué bebes normalmente? For this one here, for question number 2, it would be a really good idea if you went back to the stuff that we were doing yesterday, which is this activity where we filled in these gaps. And you remember that these 7 questions here are on this slide that I'm showing you now. So, ¿qué te gusta comer? What do you like to eat? ¿Qué comes el mediodía normalmente? And as a reminder, what you need to do, if I just choose one as an example here, ¿qué desayunas cada mañana? is we need to turn that into an answer. So if I get this, if I get my screen card, if I get my visualizer up here, in terms of turning this, if I go back to it, this one here, ¿Qué desayunas cada mañana, into an answer, what I'm going to do is take cada mañana and write that down. So this is each morning. Go back in here, and you remember that with desayunas, we turn it into the first person. So this is the second person currently, so desayunas. All we do is take off the AS at the end here, and we replace it with an O. So desayuno. I might just use a nice easy one here. Desayuno cereales. Of course, I can add a little bit of extra detail here, so I can say cada mañana desayuno cereales con mi familia en la cocina. So this is each morning. I have cereals with my family in the kitchen, but I could add a little bit more onto that by saying something like pero de vez en cuando, so from time to time, pero de vez en cuando, I could say prefiero, prefiero desayunar, so I prefer to have for breakfast pan tostada. Pan tostada, maybe con mantequilla, so this is toast with butter. Okay, and that's all I want you to do. Now this is the first part of an answer there. If I count these words, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 20, 21. If you're aiming for only 80 words, all you're doing is writing 4 times more than that per question. And once you've done this, you're going to have the basis of exactly what you need in order to prepare and write your next piece of controlled assessment. And that's not to say that the task will be exactly the same, but it's likely to be very similar. So the more stuff that you put in here, the more you're going to have to prepare that control assessment task. And I'd like you to do that by the first week back. So if you're in my 11R class, this will be this will be done for the Tuesday. We have a lesson on the Monday, and then it's on Tuesday. If it's my 11Q class, it will be on the Thursday lesson then that I will expect this to be done. And if you're in my 11S class, then I will expect it to be done by the Wednesday lesson. The reason why I want you to have done this by giving you a deadline, which is the second lesson back of the week, is to give you a little bit of time in class to prepare if necessary. But secondly, because I want to give you the opportunity before you hand it in to do some peer assessment so that you can look at each other's answers to this. And this must be done so that you are prepared for the next step.